So we could probably just go ahead and copy this line here. We can call it updated to do, and then I mean we could just replace the object here, but you know, we can. There's a couple different ways to do it, so we'll just keep it simple here, and we'll find the object in the list that that matches this updated to do's ID. So we'll do make sure we compare IDs here, not the instance. If the to-do is updated, then we find it from our to-dos list, and I guess we could check if it's null. If to-do is equal to null, then that means that for whatever reason it doesn't exist on our list. So we can probably just go ahead and plop it in there. So again, you know, we probably should reorder the list or do, you know, some logic to make sure that's ordered correctly, but we'll just go ahead and do this. So otherwise, if it does exist in our list, it means we just want to update the values from it. So really the only value that could change is whether it's checked. We're not adding the ability to edit the task value, like the string value here, so we can just go ahead and do to do that is complete is equal to updated to do that is complete. Okay, and so I think we can go ahead and switch this to a checkbox. Okay, so that'll update the value there. Probably we want to actually change this to a function because we don't want to just update it in memory. We want to call some function that updates it in the database. That way it can trigger for everybody else as well that's listening to those changes. So we want to go ahead and create another function here. We can probably not return anything. We can call it update to do. And we can pass it in the to do ID, and then whether it's complete or not. We could also just pass it in the whole to do if it's easier, just so we're not playing around with parameters. To do. We'll rename that to updated to do. Okay, so that way we know this is the one that has changed, and that's what we're trying to update in the database. So again, we'll call we can find, okay, so the update here, yeah. So you always do the from to the table that you're trying to update or insert or select or whatever. And then we can do an update, and we can do basically the column name, it looks like. So it could be ID. No, actually, is complete is a column we're trying to update. And it's going to be updated to do that is complete. And then we want to do where it equals that ID. So ID is equal to updated to do dot ID. And then maybe this needs to be a key in a string for Dart. So that's probably just a little bit of difference between the JavaScript syntax and the Dart syntax. And then we want to make this async because we are gonna want to await for this here. I don't know if we need to call some sort of a execute method here. Yeah, there we go. Okay. And I believe that should be good. You know, yeah, technically probably would be best for all of these to do some sort of error handling and all that, but I think for now we should be okay. We can go ahead and go back to the database and kind of see if it updates as we change things. I believe this view here that they give us here on the website is real-time updated as well. So if it's updated from another source, I think they're using the same real-time client type uh, logic here in their website that it listens for changes to update their own UI here. I think. So we're going to find out here pretty soon. So we didn't actually call that update method. All right, there we go. That's better. So we probably want to make sure we do that. And, honestly, best practice would probably be to wait until this is done executing to make sure that the database has saved correctly before the before you actually update it in the UI. And we can go ahead and pass the actual checkbox widget value for is complete, and we can use that as the new value. And we can go ahead and try that again. Hopefully that works. So order food, it's down here. It's checked true here, and it's checked true here. If we click it, oh, I hit the debugger. But it looks like it's going to switch to false because it's coming in as false. Okay, so it's false here, but it's not false here. Let's see if just refreshing the page. Nope, it doesn't look like it's like it got updated correctly. So we have something going on. Oh yeah, so wrong typo basically. I'm gonna confuse these a lot, so that casing really throws me off. Remember, the Supabase uses, or I guess the database in Supabase uses this snake case syntax, whereas Dart typically prefers camel case syntax. A lot of this could be probably resolved by using an actual mapper library that'll auto create your models for you and all that. And then we could probably just throw, like if we just did, for example, update it to do.to JSON would probably work. I mean, you're sending a lot more data through the network than necessary, so you're not just updating what you need to update. But, again, it is what it is. So the only thing is, if you do this, you're gonna have to make sure you update it in memory first, and then if you wrap this in try catch, and for example, if it fails, then you'd want to revert it to whatever it previously was, and then show some error. But for our little example here, it really doesn't matter. It's not a big deal. We can go ahead and try to get this resynced again. Okay, so they're both true. And still something going on. Something not quite right. Let's see about do my laundry. If we switch that to, okay, checked. Do my laundry is still false here, but it's true here. Unless we have a typo here. It doesn't look like we do. Yeah, that looks correct. Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe let's go ahead and undo that. And while we're at it, let's just do a full refresh. Make sure we're completely synced up. And annoying thing that you gotta re-sign in. So order food is true, it's complete. So let's uncheck it. And there we go. Okay. So maybe we just needed to restart the app or something and resync them together. Maybe the variables were flipped or something weird. But it looks like we're good now. So we toggle that. Toggle this one. Both true, both false. So let's go ahead and add another record. Let me copy that user ID again. Call cab. And it looks like I did not copy that ID quite correctly. Okay, try that again. There we go. And it comes in at the top as we expect because it's the newest one. And I think everything is looking good. We may just need to do the delete now. Hopefully that doesn't give us as much trouble as that darn update did. So we'll do a trailing here. And we'll probably just do an icon button. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and pass that to do ID that we want to delete. Yeah, so the delete doesn't take any parameters. You just got to specify after the delete what records you want to delete. In our case, since we're confirmed by IDs, we know for sure that it's only going to delete that single ID. I'm guessing if I had, for example, this commented out, it would either match every record or it would match no records. So you may need to watch out for that, that if you mess up your query, you may end up deleting a lot more than you want. Again, we do have the security rules in place at a row level, so at worst case, the user would delete everything that he owns and only that. He would not be able to delete any other user's tasks. But if you didn't have that row level security in place, you got to be careful with that because you can delete a lot more than you may want to on accident. Okay, so I think after that, now we just gotta implement our subscription over here. So we'll do the on delete. Okay, so we're just gonna reassign it to the list where the to do in the list is not equal the one that got deleted. So that means that if they do equal, then it's not gonna get pulled back on this list. We may have to add a new row here. We'll just do test. Nothing's coming in still. That's interesting. Okay, so yep, all record does have it. And just out of curiosity, let's see what new record. Yep, so new record is null, and old record does have that ID as 14. That makes sense. I mean, you're deleting, you would expect new record to be essentially non-existent. And it's cleared out. So I think really the only issue there was just that I needed to restart to make sure that this subscription got reinitialized. Alright guys, so I went ahead and implemented the UI for adding a new task, updating and deleting. It's all pretty much the same as the stuff I've been showing you guys. So I just wanted to speed things along a bit because it's all pretty redundant at this point, but I'll still go ahead and cover things at a high level. So here in the UI, we added we mapped the to-dos that we fetch up here in the init state. We mapped them to a list of tiles with a checkbox and an icon button. The only thing here is that we make sure that only the user that created the task can update it or delete it. That is again due to that row level security that we added to our policies earlier when we were in Supabase. If we can, yep. So see, individuals can update and delete their own to-dos. And then here, we actually didn't rename the policy correctly, but we actually did that role check to be authenticated. So that means anybody that's authenticated can view every to-do. I did go ahead and change the subscription as well. I refactored these functions here. So I created the handle delete, handle update, and handle insert just to clean things up a bit. And then I call set state every time I change the state of the to-dos. And then lastly, here I added this add task function, and this function just takes the text from the controller that's coming in from this field over here, and it gets the current user's ID, and it just defaults to complete being false, because when we add a new task, we kind of expect that it would not be completed. And then the syntax is pretty similar as always. We do a from to-dos to select that table, and we insert the new to-do, and we call that toJSON method, and then we call execute to insert that record. Now, as soon as we do that, the other clients should be able to see that new task as well. And then we go ahead and clear the controller text here so that a new task can be added. Now, I'm signed in as two separate users, as you guys can see. I'm going to go ahead and create some tasks. Task as user1, and there we go. So we have a new task as user1 here, and now this other user can see the task, but he can't check it or uncheck it, and he cannot delete it. Now we're going to create another one, task as user2, and there we go. Both users can see them, but now this user over here on the left cannot edit or delete that task, but he can edit or delete his own. And that's about it, guys. I think we've covered pretty much all the basics of the real-time client. If I jumped a little bit too quick there, please go ahead and check out the Git repo. It's down in the description below for the video. And you guys are welcome to comment below as well, and I'll make sure to reply to every comment. I think for the next piece, what we're going to do is refactor the authentication piece a little bit. We are going to add some persistency to it. I might have mentioned it before, but we are probably going to use the shared preferences library and just try to get the previous session, so that way we can have easier flow into the splash page and then get that authentication token that we had from the previous sign-in, and they just automatically essentially sign back into the app to restore that session that we had previously. And then that way we don't have to keep getting prompted every time we restart the app. And it'll make it a lot more usable for you guys. And I think I don't know if I'll do it on the same video, but I may break it up into two videos where I'll probably create those basic UI components that probably just take in the Subapase client as a parameter. And then that way you guys can just plug that into your project, and you'll have sort of a readily working login and sign up components for you guys to use with all the logic there. I'll post a link to that repo once I create it, and then you guys are welcome to submit any pull requests to help out with making the UI prettier, making the UI nice and clean. It's not my strong suit, so I'll definitely appreciate any help you guys want to contribute to that repo. That would be awesome. Alright guys, well, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Please make sure to subscribe and like this video if you guys like what I'm doing so far, and as always, post any suggestions down below.